Have you ever had one of those moments that stops you in your tracks? It could be a phone call from your doctor. Maybe it was a blood test. Maybe you stepped on a scale. Or maybe you looked at yourself in the mirror one morning and thought, how did I get here? You're not thinking about your age here or your appearance. You're asking yourself this question because you realized something wasn't right. A few years ago, I had one of those moments. And what scared me wasn't what I saw. It was what I imagined would happen if nothing changed. Because health scares don't happen overnight. Most of them whisper before they scream. Weight gain, low energy, poor sleep, brain fog, the numbers on your blood work slowly moving in the wrong direction. Each one seems small on its own, easy to ignore and postpone. Easy to tell yourself you'll deal with it later, until one day you realize that later has arrived. And that's when most of us start looking for a solution. Now, don't be fooled. It's not because we suddenly become interested in health. It's because we suddenly realize we can lose it. Maybe that's where you are today. Maybe you're not here because you want to lose weight. Maybe you're here because something happened that made you realize you can't keep going the way you've been going. And if any of this sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. But why listen to me? Definitely not because I'm a doctor. I'm not. And certainly not because I have all the answers. I don't. You should listen to me only if you find value in listening, in learning from someone who has been where you are, someone who ignored the warning signs for too long, someone who struggled with weight, energy, and consistency. Someone who tried the usual approaches that kept ending up back at the beginning. And someone who eventually decided to experiment on herself rather than keep waiting for motivation to magically appear. Everything I share on this channel comes from personal experience, extensive research, and the lessons I've learned through prolonged fasting and rebuilding my health one step at a time. I'm not here as an expert standing above you. I'm here as someone walking the same road and sharing what I've learned along the way. So take what helps, question everything, and always make decisions that are right for your own situation. Because here's what I discovered. The health scare wasn't actually the problem. It was the symptom, the sudden visible reminder that something deeper had been happening for years. Stress, neglect, and putting everyone else first. I was living on autopilot, ignoring the small warning signs because life was too busy. And once I understood that, I started asking a different question. Not one, how do I lose weight? Or what's the perfect diet? Or how many calories should I eat? But rather, how do I become myself again? Because the truth is, most of us have already tried the obvious solutions. We've tried eating healthier. We've tried calorie counting and joining the gym. Some of us even tried intermittent fasting. And most of us tried starting over every Monday. And sometimes those things work. But for a while, eventually life happens. The stress returns along with the bad habits and the weight. So does the exhaustion. And we end up right back where we started. Not because we are lazy or because we are weak, because we are trying to solve a deeper problem with a surface level solution. Real change starts when you stop managing symptoms and start interrupting the pattern creating them. This is where it shifted for me. I stopped seeing those solutions as a way to lose weight and started seeing them as a reset, a chance to interrupt the momentum and step away from the habits, the cravings, the routines, and patterns that had been running my life. A chance to create enough space to ask, what do I actually want my future to look like? Because 6 months from now, one of two things are going to happen. Either nothing changes or something changes. Now, if nothing changes, life probably won't fall apart. And that's the scary part. It will probably look very similar to today. A little less energy and confidence, a little more weight, a little more frustration, and wondering if things will ever get better. But if something changes, now we're having a different conversation. Imagine waking up 6 months from now. You don't avoid mirrors or dread getting dressed. You don't spend every Monday promising to start over. You trust yourself again. You have energy after work. You feel stronger, lighter, hopeful, and more capable. Not because your life became perfect, but because you interrupted a pattern that was taking you somewhere you didn't want to go. Now, that possibility is why I've returned to a 21-day fast again and again over the past 30 years. Not because I wanted to lose weight, but because I wanted my life back. Think about it. Why do you do it? What do you hope will be different this time? What would you have to do to finally start seeing results? More energy, confidence, or maybe just proving to yourself that you can still do difficult things. Whatever it is, I'd love to hear it in the comments, because the answer to those questions tells you far more about your future than any number on a scale ever will. And if a 21-day fast doesn't feel like the right option for you today, that's okay too. It's my go-to answer because it's what helped me create the reset I needed. But that doesn't mean it's automatically the right answer for you. Everyone's situation is different, and the best path forward is the one that fits your goals, your health, and where you are right now. Here's one thing I would encourage you to do. Spend 10 minutes today answering one question. What do you hope will be different in my life 6 months from now? Write until you find the real answer, not the first answer, the honest answer. Keep asking why until you get to the one underneath all of the others, because that's the answer worth fighting for. Maybe prolonged fasting becomes worth considering, maybe not, but at least you will know what you are moving toward. And that's where every meaningful change begins. Because a 21-day fast isn't really about losing weight. It's about removing what's standing between you and the person you already know you can be.